Hi guys, Pastor Janet. I'm back today. I told you I was going to come and talk about what do publishers want from an author. Now I've been asked this many times, so I guess some people, they still are getting rejection letters and they wonder what's wrong, why their book's not selling. They're doing everything they know to do. So here's some things you might consider. Now, when you submit your book, novel, or we're basically talking about books right now, like novels, short stories, novellas, and stuff like that. If you submit your novel to a publisher, one thing they want the book to be over 60,000 words, a novel. Be over 60,000 words. Because see, the cost of printing, if they have to print a smaller book, they figure that it's not cost worthy. And so that they're really, in a sense, losing money. So try to make sure your novel is over 60,000 words, at least. Now, at least. And always use words well. Now, what do they mean by use words well? If you read something that you can't understand, you're not going to take the time to read it. You're going to set it aside. That's what a lot of publishers do. When they get work that they can't understand, it's too much time. They're not an editor, so they're not going to take time to correct your work. They're going to just set it aside because they figure, they don't have the time for that. So make sure that you have all corrections of grammar and spelling, punctuation, everything like that's right. And another important thing is send it to the right publisher. People make a mistake. I finished my book, I'm going to send it to a publisher. They just look up publishers and I'm going to send it to this one, I'm going to send it to that one, I'm going to send it to that one. No. You want to be in the right genre. You want to be in the right. If you're writing a mystery, you want to look for publishers that publish mystery. Don't send a mystery publisher romantic novel. I mean, he may say, yeah, it's nice, but that's not what I'm looking for. So you got to find the right publisher for the right niche for your book to fit into. And another thing, okay, I wrote it down here because I didn't want to, leave anything out. It must appeal to the publisher. If it doesn't appeal to the publisher, then he figures it's not going to appeal to your audience. So you want a catchy title, you want everything set up, wonderful book cover. You want to have all that stuff in there so that everything sits well. So when he opens how do you want to send him? You might want to send him the whole manuscript with the cover and everything on. And I guess there's nothing wrong with doing that because some publishers might look at it and say, oh, I like that cover, so let's see how the story is. So make sure everything is right in your story. And another thing they said, make sure that you know what you're talking about. Now, if you're writing about science stuff and you know nothing about science, they can tell that. So make sure you understand what you're writing about. Have some knowledge of it. Writing mysteries, have some knowledge about what goes on in mystery. Maybe you're watching things like CSI or Special Victim. You get an idea of what goes on in a police station. That gives you some idea. So you have to do research. That's what it comes down to, doing research on what you're writing about. You must be clear about what you understand, what you're writing about. Because they can tell. Believe me, they know very well. Okay? It should be free of errors. I think I told you that. They don't want to have to take time to understand what you're writing. If there's run-on sentences, if there's no periods, everything just blends in together. You're spelling words wrong. You don't know the right tense for each word. You gotta study spelling and grammar. So see, now this writing is, people want to be a writer, but you gotta realize writing is a hard field. It's work. You have to know what you're doing. You have to take time spelling and grammar. You have to learn that stuff. I mean, it's good to just sit down and write off the top of your head, but then when you go to send it to a publisher, you got to put that stuff together. It's got to be the right tense of the word so they can understand what you're saying. If they can't understand it, you're putting it aside. That's why a lot of writers' works are rejected because the publisher just says, I don't have time. I don't have the time to go through and correct your mistakes. That should have been done before you got it to me. So he'll put it in the pile and just put it over there. And because publishers are looking for books that are marketable, that will sell. So when they get your manuscript, if it's too short, that's a turn off. If they can't understand, if there's a lot of spelling and grammar, that's a turn off. So what they usually do is they reject it because they just don't have the time. They don't have the time to correct your mistakes. So try to make the perfect manuscript when you send it to them. I'm sure there may be some errors, but they can take a few. But if every time they're reading a sentence or a paragraph, they find mistakes and stuff, after maybe about the first couple of pages, they say, okay, I don't have time for this, so I'll just set him aside. It looked like it might be good, and then it's not the right length. And so there's a lot of things. So when you do a book for a publisher to send it off, make sure you have everything right. And most importantly, this one guy sent his book to a publisher. He didn't number the pages. And so when the publisher got it, accidentally some of the pages fell apart. And they couldn't understand what the story was about. So they just put them all back together and sent it back to him with a rejection letter. And then this one guy published his book through Amazon. He didn't have page numbers. So they published it exactly the way it was. And when he got the book, everything, he said, it was terrible. He said, everything was out of order. The page. So the lady asked him, "What? Didn't you put page numbers on?" He said, "Am I supposed to do that?" He said, "I thought they did." No, they don't do that. They don't put names on numbers on pages. That's something you have to do. You should have, if you're sending a manuscript to a publisher, especially if you're sending it in a package, paper, and typed out stuff, your name, your address, phone number, date, page numbers, either at the top or at the bottom, but they got to have page numbers. They're not going to take time to put your pages together. That's what that guy found out on Amazon. They published his book exactly like it was, because it fell out and something happened in the printing, and they just threw the pages together and sent him the book. And he was very upset. So, see, you have to take a lot of responsibility that they're not going to do for you. So don't expect them to do a lot of stuff. They expected you to have it done before you get it to them. So, and let me see, I put a couple of other things down. And they want novels that are original. Plagiarism doesn't work. If you know what plagiarism is, copying off somebody else's work. When I was in writing school, we had to pick an author, and then we had to read how they wrote and then do it our way. That's what it's good to do sometimes. Find an author that you like and read the way they wrote a paragraph or something, then write it your way. That's what we had to do. That's how we learned to listen to our own voice. It's called a writer's voice. You learn how to do things yourself. So then you got to be original. They don't want plagiarism. They don't want them to look copying off of somebody else. That doesn't work. And the title, like I said, titles, when you pick a title, pick an interesting title, because if it doesn't catch the publisher, it's not going to catch your reader, and they want to make money. So remember that. So if it doesn't catch them, they're going to set it aside or send you a rejection letter. So remember that too. And a lot of people think you have to go to college to be a writer. I went to college, but I started writing when I was 8 years old, but I had to learn a lot of stuff. But you don't have to be a college graduate to be a writer. You just have to take time in spelling, punctuation, and grammar to learn what the craft of writing. And there's so many writing schools out there that you can go to that will teach you how to write the right way. So these are some of the things that publishers want. So you must take the initiative yourself to make sure that these things that they want, you give them. If you don't give it to them, you're going to get a rejection letter. But usually rejection letters come after the book's too short and the marketing would cost more than what they want to put in. You don't know what you're talking about. It's not to the right publisher. You're not in the right genre. So, and you need to know all this stuff beforehand. So writing it's wonderful to be a writer. I love it. I'm working on my other novel right now. But remember, there's things you